You know the drill. I'm Xander. He's Alejandro.
Hey, you seem to be in a pleasant mood today.
It's a Naylor chapter. What do you expect? And it's one that gets underneath my skin a lot. It'll probably get underneath yours too, Mr. Author. Let's get to it. Here's chapter 11.
1 foot in the hole, 1 foot getting deeper. Crank it to 11, blow another speaker.
Well, kids, I hope you like Sheila, because we have an entire chapter devoted just to her.
Well, after she handled the Ted situation, I kind of like her. She's not a loose slut anymore.
Ha! Yeah, that's what I thought when I started reading this chapter. You and you guys watching will see the second Naylor devotes any time to a side character, he will ruin them. We see just how progressive Naylor is, as usual, when it comes to women and Sheila.
I swear, Naylor has her doing just about every cliche thing a mother from a 50s sitcom can do.
Cliches aside, the second panel is cute, and the third panel is too easy of a setup. I'm sure he's got a package for you, alright. And the last panel, pot calling kettle black much?
Okay, we're not past the first page and we already have Naylor being sexist. I know that that's his style, but this has to be some kind of record. Furthermore, no company would have this blatantly sexist of an ad without being sued. I remember reading an article in Reader's Digest that actually argued the opposite. That most modern ads are sexist against men instead of women. And who is the he that she's referring to? The Brawny mascot? He doesn't exist.
Wait, you read Reader's Digest?
It was just one article I saw in passing, and is that really important right now?
Well, anyway, you're already finding problems, and it's only page 1. This is gonna be fun! Really? Sheila's behavior only continues to get weirder as Fisk comes down shirtless now, and she nearly flips her shit over it.
Clearly Naylor's going for the Oedipus innuendos here, but thankfully he shows an extremely rare example of common sense with the mother yelling at the little bastard.
I've probably called Fisk a motherfucker at some point in the past, but I was really worried Naylor was going to take me up on that. Well, apparently Sheila does have a friend besides the sociopath called Rob. I'm pretty sure this is Liz's mom she's talking to, which makes her arguably one of the worst friends she could have. A paranoid, over-controlling mother. But it's not like there seem to be many choices. The two talk about how Sheila's been pent up and losing her mind lately.
That's an understatement.
And Sheila mentions she needs to get out, or a man. Or a woman, but hey, it's a Naylor comic. Lesbians are pretty much non-existent. So there goes any mother-on-mother action. Anyway, she hasn't seen anyone since Harv. Now, as we all know, time and progression are just about foreign concepts to Naylor, which means I'm better off pulling the calculation straight out of my ass, rather than trying to figure out how long it's been. So we'll say 2 years.
Wow, you think Sheila held out that long?
I never claimed the math was perfect.
What math? You guessed a time frame.
Exactly, which is all Naylor does too. I can't help it if I have nothing to work with. Anyways, it turns out Sheila is nervous about dating again. I love the little line about how it's getting harder to stay in shape. I call bullshit on that one because she hasn't aged a day since this comic started, and Naylor wouldn't know how to draw a female protagonist with less than a great figure if it killed him. She also mentions being worried about dating any creeps, which is a fair point, and I can sympathize with that one. Well, Kelly decides that if Sheila is really worried about her safety, she could just take self-defense courses, which you all know what that means.
More of Naylor's love for guns.
More of Naylor's love for guns, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Turns out Sheila's neighbor, who, by the way, we've never seen up to this point, trains the police using guns. For the record, I have no idea if police actually have a system set up like this or not, so I'm not touching it. Getting back on track, Sam can train Sheila as well. What's priceless about all this is Sheila has no idea, apparently, or vaguely knows anything about Sam, despite him literally being right next to her. No, I'm not joking. Next 2 pages, you'll see, there is only a fence between them.
Wilson? Howdy, neighbor.
I wish. Anyway, Sheila mentions she keeps her distance because Sam and his wife are always fighting, and really? Shrew equality? Just call her a bitch and be done with it. Next page, and before I continue talking about the story anymore, I want you guys to look back on the last pages. Notice anything? If you said nothing, you are right. Besides the characters, there is nothing in the images. No backgrounds, no backdrops, just a white void. This layer becomes upgraded to the all-consuming gray void of doom. It's not noticeable yet, and there still are a lot of backgrounds drawn, but if you don't keep your eye on it, it will sneak up on you and consume the whole comic, and leave you wondering when things got so bare looking. As for the plot...
There's a plot? I thought we just drifted from page to page.
Oh, just wait till we get to original life.
Till we get to what?
Nothing. Anyways, we get introduced to two new characters, Sam and Ryan, both of whom always live next to Sheila, but we've never seen. Nice way to pull a friend for Fisk out of your ass there, Naylor. No meeting him or anything, just suddenly he goes from always being alone to having a friend. Also, great job with the parenting going on here. The parents can't agree on how to raise the kid, but the dad goes against the mother's wishes and gives him some money anyways.
Damn it, Naylor. Here's 3 mistakes in one panel. 1. Tell her you went to the mall. Arcades were usually in malls. 2. Violent video games. Has Naylor even played games from the late 80s? 3. I seem to recall the blunt majority of the outcry against violent video games coming after the 80s, when the 90s brought us games like Mortal Kombat.
You're expecting Naylor to remain consistent with the timeline of the story?
I would think that someone who lived through the 80s and can remember them better than we can would know how to write a proper 80s setting.
This is Naylor. Lower your expectations. We move on to the next page with Sheila talking to Sam.
Nice awkward hi there after you've already said hello once. Also, why does it look like she's flirting with him in the second panel?
Because Naylor draws porn for a living. Moving on, Sheila talks to Sam about getting self-defense courses. He gives her a card and a location to meet him at. Sheila shows up at the gun shop, and I love in the third panel how lovingly drawn all of the guns are. Anyway, Sam calls her back, and they have a little talk.
Wow, these guns are drawn so much better than anything else he's ever done. Wait, why are there so many assault rifles and semi-automatics and not any handguns? Handguns are so much better for self-defense in the home. Or is Sheila going to go hunting?
Nah, Naylor wasn't that crazy yet.
Oh, okay. Wait, you mean he would actually do that?
Anyway, Sam and Sheila talk, and she confesses 5 years ago she was Wait, shit. He did give a timeline. I was way off.
It doesn't look like 5 years have passed between those chapters.
Sheila explains everything, and this makes me wonder, if Sam lived next door to her, shouldn't he already know why she would want self-defense courses? I guess Sheila's not the only one oblivious to the world outside of the house. We move on to when the training begins, and Sheila, of course, gets a perfect shot on the target.
Okay, seriously, look at the angle of her gun compared to the rest of her body. She's holding the gun off angle. How the hell would she hit anything?
I never noticed that before. I'm assuming this is just another sign that Naylor can't draw.
And even if that's the case, her hands were shaking as she pulled the trigger. She looked terrified to be firing the gun. There's no way she would get a bullseye. She'd still be lucky to even hit the target.
And on the next page...
I'm going to be completely honest with you guys here. Besides very, very basic things, I know jack shit about guns. I'm sure Naylor's lying about a lot of this crap. He's making it up. I don't doubt that. But for anyone that's an expert in the subject, please, by all means, leave comments and tell me how much of this Naylor is actually bullshitting.
Well, with Sheila learning how to have perfect Mary Sue aiming, they wrap things up and Sam gets a call from his wife. Apparently she's on the rampage again, and we actually get to witness some of it for a change.
Okay, despite that cell phone being huge, it actually isn't big enough. Also, what time are we in? I could have sworn those early bricks that were called phones came out in 86.
The argument continues on the next page, and real smooth. Fight back and be snarky.
Gee, I can't possibly imagine why they're always fighting. I mean, they can't agree on how to raise the kids. And then they have phone conversations like this, in the middle of public, mind you. I mean, the wife's a crazy bitch, no question about that, but he's not helping matters either. See, here's what you should do. Whenever you start having conversations like this phone conversation, you and your crazy wife go to marriage counseling.
And because Sam is such a genius, he has the argument right where Sheila can hear it all. So he's being a terrible husband, as well as an unprofessional trainer for airing his dirty laundry. I can only imagine what it's like if these two go out to a restaurant.
Good evening, folks. What can I start you off with tonight?
Well, yes, I'll have a glass of your finest wine. Oh, and start me off with dinner salad as well. But I better not find any croutons, or else you are not getting a tip tonight. Don't mind her. I'm really not that hungry tonight. I think I'm just going to have a Pepsi and a quarter-pound cheeseburger. Oh, really? Sometimes I forget I married a child. Would you prefer we go get some greasy fast food instead? What are you complaining about? I hardly order things like this. Fine, but remember, you don't get a toy with your meal. Ugh, alright. I'll have your 12-ounce steak instead, medium rare. Oh, what a surprise! What is it now? Another steak? What are you, a barbarian? Is that all you and your gun buddies think about? Shooting guns, drinking beer, and eating raw meat? I'm not even the one drinking alcohol, you are! Don't you raise your voice to me, or do you want to sleep on the couch again? You're the one making a scene. People are trying to stare at us. And yes, I'd be glad to sleep on the couch. For one, it doesn't bitch at me.
I think you folks need a few more minutes to decide, so I'll let you be. Hey, Joe, could you take table 7 for me?
Well, we get our first look at the bitch, and boy does she look like one. The fighting is over for now, but Sam still has a lousy night, and the two of them might as well just split the bed in half, and I'm honestly surprised the bitch, yes, that's her name now, doesn't have a permanent scowl on her face even when she's asleep. The next page is relatively pointless, besides showing Fist does have a friend, and what a fucking surprise, he's winning! Also, Naylor cannot draw action poses worth a damn. First off, Fist's body in the first panel is not posed as someone running after a person. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it's not that. You can figure out Sam is throwing the football, but it could have been done better. Zoom out. The third panel, I guess, is okay. And the last one, Sam's body is twisted instead of being sprawled out normally. And why is he face down and Fisk face up when both of them were facing the same direction in panel 3?
Was that really necessary?
I wonder as too, you know, it bugged me. Next page, and wait a damn minute, since when does she wear glasses? Also, if you're going to put enough detail into the calendar to tell us what month and year it is, put the right number of squares for days in it too, you lazy bastard! And yeah, she's starting to fall for Sam. No, this will not end well. And we get further signs that not all is well. While Sheila is a good little slave to the kitchen and feeds her kids, Sam's stomach does not get fed nearly as well. How dare that bitch of a wife refuse to feed me! I will have my revenge! Moving on to the next page.
Hello, fan service page.
Indeed, and while Sheila is drooling over her neighbor and gradually pissing me more and more off, Kelly shows up and Sheila lets it slip she's been thinking about Sam. Well, Kelly is as dense and stupid as they come, it seems. Go figure, a woman being stupid in a Naylor comic. And she decides it's time for Sheila to go on a few blind dates.
Can I do a racism counter for this comic?
No, we'd lose track by the end of the series. Besides, I'm still cleaning up bits of the last counter that I had. You see what I'm talking about?
Unsurprisingly, they are all terrible for different reasons. Let's cover the stereotypes. We got the geek, played by a ferret. The crazy ex-soldier is a cat, I think. The dog with no manners and... Okay, really? White chocolate? Do blacks actually say that?
No, really, I'm not being snarky when I say that. I'm actually asking a legitimate question. You see, unlike some people, Naylor, I don't make assumptions about these things.
Anyways, the dates are all failures. Sheila goes home pissed. It's now another day and late at night, and oh look, Sam had another fight with the bitch. 2 in the morning, huh? I'm surprised Naylor got the clock right to be consistent with that statement. The couple has been having a bad month, and from how he's talking, this is a regular thing. Which once again brings me to my first point. Get counseling! It's not like it didn't exist! The dialogue goes on to the next page, and we see the only reason these two are together is for Ryan. This might sound like a sweet gesture, but in reality, it can be more harmful for a child to be raised in an environment where his parents are constantly fighting than for him to be raised in a setting where they are divorced but things at home are fairly quiet. But like I expect Naylor to understand any of this, I doubt he even knew his father. Sheila decides to tell Sam she thinks he's a good father and shows her support by being a homewrecker.
You see, this is why you don't let Naylor focus on side characters, especially women. He will destroy them. Seriously, what the hurts?
Wait, what?
What do you mean, what?
You just said...
I know what I just said. I'm getting sick of this bullhorse. Seriously, Naylor, and for anyone thinking, oh, Xander, it's just a little kiss. Don't get so bent out of shape. Are you really that naive? Do you know the hurts Naylor's gonna pull with this?
Thank God the next page doesn't have her, and instead we get to focus on other people for a change. Now it's Sam's turn to be spacing out. The bitch is in constant crazy mode now, and has only driven Sam away. And I love the lecture his friend gives him. Why the hell are you telling the guy not to hurt things up? He's been getting screwed over this whole chapter. It's the bitch that needs to stop hurting it up. The next pages aren't any better. Alright, now come quickly and we'll observe something that occurs quite often in the series, but not in other more talented webcomics.
Oh God, you can't seriously be doing that voice again.
No comments from the camera crew. Now, shh. We don't want to interrupt this scene. We are now observing the homewrecker, a very dangerous predator on the prowl. Notice how she spots her target, alone, defenseless, unaware. She moves in quickly before he can escape. Her eyes pierce into his very soul, paralyzing him in his senses.
Including his common sense.
Shh, now this is important. She speaks, using her siren voice to lull him into a state of ease, clouding his mind. And finally, she bribes him with offerings before she goes in for the kill.
Well,
So let me get this straight. She won't destroy her family for a 16-year-old piece of dick, but she will for a 30-year-old piece of dick.
pretty much.
Apparently, Sheila becoming a homewrecker also just has her dying to be a good little mother and make breakfast as well. Honestly, is this all she can do?
Okay, what?
What?
Mom hasn't made us breakfast in years? Really? How does that even work? After all the times we've seen her cook, she hasn't made us breakfast in years.
Yeah, that's obviously BS. And okay, why the hurts did we reference Miss Butterworth?
Does this sudden foray into the supernatural world of talking inanimate objects do anything to the story or ever get referenced again?
Regardless, we move on to another day. It's night now, I guess, and snowing, and oh look, the twins are cuddling. I've seen some people in the past try to say that what happened was only a one-time thing with them. This panel begs to differ. Anyways, they talk about Sheila and how she's changing and...
Okay, no. This doesn't happen. A mother does not look up to her daughter in just her underwear to ask for clothes advice. I could show clips from pretty much any 90s sitcom of any scenario similar to this, of a girl asking for fashion advice. And I can guarantee you they're not going to just be in their underwear. It didn't happen then, it doesn't happen now, and it didn't happen when Naylor wrote this hurts.
Okay, seriously, that is getting old.
What, Naylor's hurts? Yeah, I know it is. He's gonna make me lose my mind by the end of this. Okay, well, what's left of it?
No comment.
Anyways, check the last panel and remember it. That's all I'm saying for now. And as a side note, even if she hadn't been cooking breakfast for her kids, we have proof she was at least making dinner for them. It's not like she's starving, you Fisk. So the affair has been moved to a new location now, and we started off with, of course, fan service of Sheila and creative censoring. Something Naylor couldn't draw now, his life depended on it. There's not much I have to say about this or the next page besides how wrong this all is. So the two have a little after affair talk.
Really? After affair talk?
I'm not just going to call it them having sex. That doesn't make it apparent how much I hate this chapter. Now, like I was saying, the two have a talk, and Sam mentions how much of a mess his home life is. Gee, I can't imagine why. And Sam finally admits that divorce is going to happen. Now, I was going to try and figure out the timeline here, and then I just deleted everything I typed because it can't be done. Naylor gives vague hints at how long the progression of time is in this chapter, We see Sheila start off wearing tank tops, and then when Sam is introduced, the guys are all wearing jackets and he's raking leaves. But then later on in the page, you can see it's November and they're wearing t-shirts. We also have no idea how many dates Sheila went on with the various guys, or how many dates she was on in one night, or if they were all on separate nights.
The point of this is I have no clue how long any of this stuff has been going on. I don't have a solid time frame to work with. At best, I'm guessing that the marriage has been falling apart for at least a year based on the gossip at the start of the chapter, and the affair's been going on for a few months at tops. Again, I can't be positive about any of this because Naylor sucks at defining a real time frame for any of this. And a time frame is important when I am about to ask the question I'm going to.
If Sam and the bitch have finally hit the point where they are both considering divorce, then why the hell couldn't Sam and Sheila wait? Even before the affair, Sam knew he was starting to have feelings with Sheila, and he got a lecture from his friend about not screwing anything up just before the homewrecker made her move. They should have talked about this. Sam has not been developed as a cheating husband character. Sheila used to be a slut of a woman, but Sam, who is still a screw-up nonetheless, was not the type to start an affair and wanted to keep things together. Everything about his character to this point says he would have resisted the temptation or at least gotten a divorce already if he was going to end up with Sheila in the end. Once again, because I don't have a clear timeline to work with, I can't be positive in a lot of what I've said. But one thing I know for sure is that something does not add up with how these events have transpired. It's about time we move on. Turns out the couple have been caught and, okay, really? White goddess? And it's not even a hyena saying it this time. What the hell, Naylor? Well, Sam notices he's being followed and decides to take a bit of a detour. And what better place than through a strip club? Now here's something odd that bugs me. What exactly are dogs in this world? The best any of us could ever guess was Germans. This is where Naylor picking a species to represent a race falls apart. You hear more about taboo about a black and white couple than a German and white couple. Hell, a good chunk of Americans have German blood. Also, it appears Sam used to be a detective. That would have been nice to know, before it was needed information instead of just pulled out of your ass. Also, notice how Naylor has to refer to the dogs as bitches. Once again, your misogyny is showing.
At least you calling Sam's wife the bitch makes sense.
And on one last note, nice lazy design with the dog reskin of Lucy. Well, Sam steps out of the club, the tiger in pursuit, and just when the tiger thinks he's lost his target, Sam gets the jump on him. Okay, I know he doesn't draw it like this anymore, but I'm going to make a point of it anyways because I can. You do not draw eyes at the very edge of the head in profile view. It's been pissing me off all chapter, and the only reason I didn't bring it up is because it was minor at most and there were bigger problems. This is clearly before Naylor was in his prime as an artist, and I really just wanted to gripe about that. Well, Sam, as is the standard for the Naylerverse, threatens the guy with violence, and the guy tells Sam what's going on. The guy's a private investigator, hired by the bitch, and has already met with her. Yep, Sam is in deep hurts now, and there's no gain out of it. Personally, I'm torn on if the guy deserves a punch in the face or not, but I'll go if not because he is just doing his job, and Sam and Sheila both deserve what's coming to him. He was still being a smug bastard, though. And speaking of Sheila and the bitch, let's move on to the next page. You knew this meeting was coming, now let's see how it ends. Wow, all those self-defense courses, all that confidence building, and in the end, it means nothing. Sheila ends up down on the ground and crying again. And now we see how this will affect the kids. Turns out the bitch is going to be moving, and because of the time period it was, and because of Sam being in an affair, she gets full custody of Ryan.
No, not Ryan! I'll miss him! I've known him for a whole one chapter!
Also, the way this is delivered at the end is just messed up. I don't have any complaints about the dialogue besides the last panel. That's not how you tell your best friend his mom was having an affair. Well, Fisk rages in an alleyway somewhere and has to make another comment about adults, which I'm honestly not sure if he should still be calling them that when he's going to be getting his driver's permit soon enough. You're not that far from being an adult yourself. What you're saying is what a kid says. And of course, Ryan has to make an adults comment as well, and how selfish they all are. You know, it might actually be possible that Naylor's trying to make a clever parallel between how both adults and kids can be incredibly selfish at times. Nah! That's giving him way too much credit.
Also, here's a thought for you. Consider this. If you were friends with someone and you knew that their parents were bickering and fighting all the time, wouldn't you be mentally preparing yourself for the day that they eventually get divorced and you might lose your friend?
Well, Fisk gets home now, gives his mom a death glare, and storms off. Lucy tries to talk some sense into him, and because it's Fisk, he of course has a response ready.
Oh, of course. The only reason you care about this is because you're losing your friend. You were perfectly fine with your mother being a cheating whore whenever she was making you breakfast every day. Well, you and Lucy had every chance to intervene and do something about this. You did it, and now you're losing your friend as a result. So good job on that one. Then again, I guess I should be surprised. This is, after all, the same guy that screwed his own sister.
Lucy shoots off her own retort about friends coming and going, but family being forever. Sam and Sheila spend a few pages together talking about what they'll do now. Sheila offers to let him move in, and he turns it down. Smart man. He knows Fisk would murder him in his sleep. He'd probably do it with the same bat he used on the principal. I bet Fisk didn't even clean the damn thing and it's still got dry blood on it. And to wrap things up, Sheila goes to check on Fisk, who's busy being pissed off in the attic. And she pussies out instead of talking to him. Great ending.
Even though I've tried to express it, I cannot convey how much I truly hate this chapter. For one, there's a poor misunderstanding of a lot of things. We don't know how long Sam and his wife have been having a marriage that's been going to hell. We don't know exactly how long the affair was going on. We don't know exactly when and for how long the private investigator started reporting on Sam. Second, I hate almost every single character involved in this chapter, aside from Lucy and Ryan, who had almost no screen time, so that's why they're salvaged right there. First off, Sheila. Sheila was being built up to be a great character. She did great after her last big chapter, and now she goes down not even a notch or two, she hits rock bottom. She's arguably worse than when I first started ranting about her. Second off, Sam is a complete and total moron for what he did. We knew a divorce was coming. He knew the divorce was coming even before the PI started investigating things. You should have just gotten the divorce and then gone to Sheila. But no! Naylor wanted to have, surprise, surprise, a cheating chapter. Fisk is the most selfish little hurts I've seen him be in a while. He was perfectly okay with this affair happening. He didn't care at all. Then all of a sudden he does. And why is it? It's not because it's morally wrong, but because it's personally affecting him and making him lose a friend. Otherwise, he couldn't care less. Hell, it even suited his needs until suddenly it blew up in his face. Most of all, I hate the bitch. She brought this upon herself. She created a self-fulfilling prophecy by accusing her husband over and over again until, surprise, surprise, he actually did cheat on her. You know, with how much they fought and argued, I would be surprised if she intended to set this up. No, really, it makes sense. Consider this for a minute. I would be surprised if she's moved to Detroit or something with Ryan, cackling the whole way, going, ha ha ha, all according to plan. Now the bride is mine and mine alone. Ugh. I am far too emotionally invested in this review by this point. I'm probably not even thinking logically. There's probably something off about me today, I don't know. So I'm just going to let Alejandro use his calm, rational logic to explain things.
God, this chapter, it's just full of shit. Lots of it. Lots and lots of it. Fisk. Selfishness beyond comparison, beyond what we've seen before. It just goes above and beyond the Call of Duty. His mother had previously, in a previous chapter, resisted the temptation to be a homewrecker. Now she succumbs to it. Complete opposite message. Less than 5 chapters later. That's terrible writing. You have Sheila, who makes possibly the fastest reversal of a held position outside of professional wrestling terms. Going from saying to Ted that she wasn't going to sleep with him to sleeping with Sam, who is a throwaway character, which is even worse.
Actually, he shows up in future chapters.
That still doesn't improve the situation. You've got Sam, who makes a monumentally retarded decision of not waiting until the divorce, which is inevitable. He only made it worse for himself. You've got his wife, who absolutely is not meant to be looked at in any favorable way, is nothing but a straw man, a throwaway character meant to be disposed of because after being shit on. These characters should not exist the way they are. Nobody wants to look at a character that has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Because you can't even make the argument that she's trying to be a good wife and mother to her child, because it's obvious that all she cares about is custody, even while they're still married. She's vindictive, she wants to hurt him. She does. She ends up hurting her son in the process. And I haven't even talked about the plot, that's just the characters and what they do. If I talked about the plot, it would probably go on for another 20 minutes. I mean, this chapter doesn't need to exist. It serves no purpose. It doesn't move the story forward. In fact, it moves it backward. There are just things that you don't do as a writer, and this chapter is about 50 of them. And that's about all I can think of, because this chapter drained my ability to identify problems after the first 1,000. Anyways, that should about wrap up my thoughts. Hey, Xander, you
Yeah.
think you could do me a favor? I think I need to go to the hospital.
So go.
I mean, I don't think I can drive.
Fine. You're paying me for the gas money, though. That hearse is expensive.
Don't worry, folks. I'll have Xander back to normal once we get back.
Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Than she is, and actually hired a private investigator to see what her wife what.
That's awesome.
You know, all things considered, he probably does wear the dress in the marriage. Oh, what a surprise! Is this look obnoxious enough to you yet?
Yeah.
If you're laughing inside, then I think I'm doing it